Excellencies, colleagues, and friends. We gather here at the Razina Dialogue 2026 under the theme that serves as both a philosophical anchor and a strategic directive, Sanskara, assertion, accommodation, and advancement. In our civilizational praxis, Sanskara is the process of refinement, the transformation of a being or a nation state towards greater capability and purer purpose. And over the decades of Indian foreign policy, we have witnessed such a transformation. India has moved from an era of adjusting to a global order to an era of refining it. Our G20 presidency, guided by Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, one earth, one family, one future, remains our civilizational response to a polarized world. It encompasses a concrete agenda on development, debt, and digital and public infrastructure, culminating in the New Delhi Leaders' Declaration. Sanskara thus bridges India's civilizational ethos with the real business of statecraft. In our Sanskara, assertion is the disciplined defense of national interests and a clear articulation of red lines. Assertion is the realization that in a fragmented world order, the answer is not external balancing alone, but also in internal restructuring, in deepening our manufacturing, improving our infrastructure, and securing our strategic autonomy. And despite suggestions that India's strategic autonomy was a casualty of economic alignments, Prime Minister Modi has been unambiguous and consistent. India's decisions are guided by our national interests, not by aligning with any single bloc. This conviction is tested daily, from energy security to distant conflicts, where India consistently upholds autonomy while deepening partnerships. Assertion begins with sovereignty. Along our borders, we have made it clear that peace and tranquility are indispensable for normalcy in relations. The dignity of our citizens and the status of our frontiers are not variables to be traded. Assertion is equally visible at sea. India consistently upholds freedom of navigation and UNCLOS, opposing unilateral attempts to change the status quo in the Indo-Pacific. Our stand is anchored in the belief that stable maritime commons are essential for the global south. Internal balancing is equally vital for assertion. Through the Shanti Act 2025, we have introduced a modern legalized framework designed to attract private and foreign investments into the nuclear sector. This supports our clean energy ambition while achieving our 100 gigawatts goal by 2047. In our Sanskara, accommodation is not capitulation. It is the art of living with diversity and interdependence. In the Indian thought, accommodation is about building a consensus that is human-centric rather than power-centric. Our G20 presidency epitomized this by bringing in the African Union as a permanent member, effectively democratizing the global order. And as we assume the BRICS chairmanship in 2026, we focus on the 4 pillars of resilience, innovation, cooperation, and sustainability. Accommodation also means speaking truth to anachronistic institutions. A more representative United Nations would be better equipped to face the challenges and solve the conflicts in the emerging world order. Whether in Ukraine or West Asia, India consistently emphasizes dialogue and diplomacy while advancing initiatives such as the India-Middle East European Economic Corridor to promote connectivity and stability. Accommodation also defines India's engagement with major powers. With the United Nations, with the United States, we share a vision for a free, open, inclusive, and resilient Indo-Pacific. With Europe, cooperation rests on shared democratic values and pragmatic negotiations on trade and emerging technologies. Yet, Partnerships do not prevent India from articulating independent positions on trade, technology, governance, and regional crises. The final stage of Sanskara is advancement, the leap into the future. For India, foreign policy must ultimately accelerate the transformation of Indian lives by guaranteeing peace and security for economic and technological development. The landmark India-EU Free Trade Agreement, concluded this year, will create a unified market representing 25% of global GDP and providing preferential access to 99% of Indian exports. Yet, advancement is not only about commerce. It is also about shaping the governance of emerging technologies. The India AI Impact Summit 2026 moved the global conversation from AI risk to AI impact, guided by the Sutra of Sarjan Hitai, Sarjan Sukhai, which means welfare for all. Over 90 nations signed the New Delhi Declaration on AI Summit. India is also investing in indigenous digital capabilities that reflect our linguistic diversity and strengthen technological sovereignty. The objective is clear. Technology must serve people, planet, and progress, not only profit. And as we move towards Viksit Bharat 2047, our strategy rests on three principles. Assert with clarity. Bharat will articulate our red lines and borders, terrorism, technology, sovereignty in every bilateral and multilateral forum. Accommodate with confidence. Bharat will use institutionalized dialogues like the 2+2 format and the Trade and Technology Councils to manage differences while delivering sustained cooperation. Advance with purpose. Bharat will leverage initiatives like the India-EU FTA and the trust framework to secure finance, markets, and standards that reinforce national priorities. However, we also believe that a stable international order cannot emerge on the sanskara of only one civilization or a power center. Our message is that a rebalanced world is one where assertion, accommodation, and advancement is respected, practiced, and shared across the globe. And that is India's journey on the path towards Viksit Bharat 2047. Thank you.